I blame the people who are attacking Gaza first, and those who are supporting the continuation of the attacks and the war. I think the international community is responsible for putting an end to the suffering of children and civilians in Gaza. I think it's the duty of the international community to put an end to this suffering, and I think those who are responsible for continuation of the war are quite obvious. Those are against the United Nations resolutions. They are against the resolutions which insist on stopping the crimes against Gaza people. But yet they allow it to continue, and they make all sorts of excuses for continuation of the suffering of the Palestinian people.
You're talking about America, who's voted consistently against any Security Council resolution to bring about a ceasefire.
Well, that's a reality. They have.
Britain's also abstained.
That's right.
You have big links with Britain. You studied in Manchester, Liverpool, and a range of other universities in Britain. What's your feeling about the British involvement here?
Extremely disappointed. Extremely disappointed. And the demonstrations in the street of London and other places in United Kingdom show that even in Parliament, the argument on ending suffering of the Palestinian people. But unfortunately, the Prime Minister and the British government is still ignoring all these requests, and they still continue on not recognizing the state of Palestinian people.
What about the neighbouring Arab states, though? Because we regularly hear Gazans themselves criticising the lack of protection which they felt was guaranteed from their neighbours.
Well, they have every right to ask for protection, the Palestinians. Whether it's from Arab countries, whether it's from other countries, they have every right to protest it. But this Palestinian issue has not only become a political issue, it has become an emotional issue in the entire region.
But should they bear some of the responsibility, these neighbouring Arab governments, even your own, one might argue?
I think all the countries in the world, except some, we have to respect the Palestinian rights, and we have to work for protections of Palestinian people.
Do you wish Iraq had done more to help them over the past 5 months?
Well, we have tried. But helping even Gaza is not that easy. The Israelis don't allow all the help to get through. They don't allow medical facilities to go through. They don't allow food, water, supplies to go through. So it's not only really, I know Iraq plus many other countries are trying to send help, but they are not allowed to do it. And some of the help have been waiting in the border for weeks to be delivered.
I've seen it myself. There is one other big regional power that is also involved in all of this, and that's Iran. Some might say it's even been fueling what's going on there, with its support with Hamas in Gaza and its support of militia in Lebanon, and even some armed groups in Iraq, here in this country.
I'm not representing the Iranian government, and I don't know what sort of support they give. But I can emphasize one point right from beginning. The Islamic Republic of Iran have supported the rights of Palestinian people right from beginning. And they have been very clear on condemning the attacks on Gaza and Palestinian people.
Okay, but they have also been funding some of the groups who've been mounting attacks in Israel.
Well, you should ask the Iranian on this issue, not me. I cannot answer for Iranian government.
But as a neighboring country, though, as a neighboring country, are you worried about that?
All I can see is the Iranian. Why people don't talk about support for Israel? The amount of ammunition, the amount of attacks, military equipment, military support. Why don't they attack? Obviously, it's the duty of every nation to give protection to Palestinian people and to give Palestinian help to protect themselves. I think this is a bit of misunderstanding in the world. Everything is okay to get in every line to support Israel, but as long as Palestinian gets some support, everybody makes it a big issue.
Before we go on to talk about various things happening in Iraq, I wanted to ask you about the question of war crimes that's going on potentially in that area. Other key leaders from Jordan, Qatar, even Turkey have been very vocal in calling them war crimes. I think the Iraqi authorities have called it genocide. What do you stand by that, and what do you think needs to happen now? We've got South Africa leading the charge against the International Court of Justice.
Iraq, we fully support South African action, and we hope that the final decision on Israeli come out in favor of Palestinian people and condemning Israelis. And I think it's very important for international community to support South African decision, and we in Iraq, obviously, we think the genocide has been committed and human rights in every aspect of it has been abused, especially killing children. Some of the children are under 1 year old. What crime have they committed to be attacked by bombs, by tanks, by whatever means the attackers using on Palestinian people? We still don't know how many children have been killed. It's thousands. And the crimes are, I don't think international community in recent years have ever seen crimes like what has happened in Gaza. And I think the duty of even not only countries, every individuals to raise our voice to protect Palestinian people.
What about the Israeli hostages held in Gaza? Because clearly there are many claims that is a war crime, and that is a war crime.
Well, I will leave that for negotiation to take place. I don't know how many hostages have been killed and how many are there, and the negotiation, even the official figures doesn't give the right figures. So I leave that for the negotiation between the groups which are committed to negotiation between the two sides.
Okay. Let's talk about what's happening in your country now, in Iraq, because what's happening in Gaza has had a ripple effect across the whole region, and it's had a very destabilizing effect, one might say, from the outside looking in on what's happening here. You've had an ally of yours, one of your key allies, America, basically carrying out an assassination of one of the commanders of Kataib Hezbollah, who is under the umbrella of the Iraqi government, whilst at the same time we've got claims that Iranian-backed armed groups are also launching attacks from Iraqi soil. How worried are you about all of this?
We are condemning all these attacks, and we are not happy about any attacks from Iraq or on Iraq. Obviously, the Gaza problem has affected many countries, not only in Middle East, even outside Middle East. Look, it has affected Yemen, it has affected Lebanon, it has affected Syria, it has affected Red Sea, and it had affected even shipping. So it has affected economical situation, commercial situation, and at the same time, political situation in the area. Obviously, we are very much concerned, and until this problem is solved completely, for a better future, I'm afraid the tension in the region will remain.
Is there a danger that Iraq is going to be used as a kind of battleground, a proxy battleground for two of your key allies, which is America and Iran?
No, we hope not. We have understanding with both sides. And obviously, United States is a big country. We want to have good relations with the United States. We have a number of multinational forces in Iraq, and the Iraqi government is very busy to make a program for these multinational forces and to fix a program for how long they want to stay and what their duties be when they stay, and at the same time for departure date. But that has to be agreed between the two sides.
There's lots of criticism, as you are well aware, that the armed groups within the Iraqi state infrastructure, under the umbrella of the Iraqi government, are kind of out of control, that nobody has complete control over them, and that there's even those saying that they're more loyal to Iran than they are to Iraq.
I don't really accept that as you stated it.
Obviously, it's not me, it's lots and lots of other people who know much more than me.
But even if they want, you are here in Baghdad, and you can go to many places, many governors, and you see our peace and security and the control of the government on everywhere. So that's not really true. Secondly, we went through a difficult time. We suffered from many wars and conflicts in Iraq, and we suffered from terrorism in Iraq, inside and outside. Our country was, and part of our country was under control of Daesh for 3 years. Obviously, there are still individuals and groups, they wanted to create problem for Iraq. But our position in Iraq, we are emphasizing on peace and security and understanding each other for the future of Iraq. And we have started. I think probably Iraq at present is one of the safest countries to live in and to visit.
Okay, but just one more thing. I mean, one of Iraq's official armed groups, which is part of Iraq, the Iraqi state umbrella, Kataib Hezbollah, has been holding an American citizen hostage for 7 months. Her sister, Elizabeth Sirkov's sister, said that US designated terror groups roam the hallways of power in Baghdad. Do you think that's true?
As I said, I condemn all terror action, whether it's in Iraq or outside Iraq. But believe me, I cannot comment on individuals' requests or individuals if I don't have the full knowledge of it. But what I want to say, and again I emphasize, I condemn every terror action, whether it's on individual or whether on a group or whether on a state.
Going back to your links with Britain again, the joint US-UK attacks in Yemen against the Houthi rebels, again another group that's funded and supported by Iran. How do you feel about that?
Well, you see, this is really all related to, as I said, political and emotional feeling of the people in the area. They feel absolutely let down by continuation of this war for how many months now? It's nearly 5 months now. 5 months, killing children and women. So I'm sure there are countries, there are even leaders of these groups in the entire Middle East. They want to do something for the benefit of Palestinian people. The main thing really, the important is to have a permanent ceasefire and try to solve the Palestinian problem, to give them self-determination on their own land by their own state.